Spring 2009 on TSN is brought to you by the new Q horsepower from Quaker State. Unleash all your horses. And Michelin, a better way forward.
This week we're in beautiful Montreal in La Belle Province, and along with good food and wine, Quebecers have a passion for small cars. In fact, you could call this province the small car capital of Canada. And you know, it seems every time a car company launches a new small car, they do it here in this province, and Honda is no different. And speaking of Honda, as I speak, it is without a doubt the most successful car company in North America, and it didn't get there by luck. As far back as the 70s, this company has resisted the urge to go big, while other car companies have made huge profits out of selling sport utilities and pickup trucks. Honda looked to the future, and they saw fuel-efficient, environmentally friendly vehicles. And with that in mind, we're here in Montreal to check out the launch of the second-generation Honda Fit.
Fit is just another example of Honda's providing vehicles that are green, safe and fun for customers. We have a saying in Honda that the company wanted to ensure that we have blue skies for our children, and one of the fundamental philosophies for the company was to produce vehicles that do the least amount of damage to the environment possible. Honda didn't actually change anything. We've always provided the best fuel economy in every class of vehicle that we make. What has changed is customers' tastes have changed, and right now they don't like the taste of the price of fuel. We're very fortunate that because of these changes in consumer taste, Honda can actually benefit from the additional business that we're getting.
The horsepower has been improved to 117 horsepower with the foot-pound torque at 106. So slight improvements in power, but fuel efficiency has also been improved to 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers for the automatic transmission, which is actually better than the manual transmission at 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers.
Fit was introduced in 2006. It had already been out in the marketplace for 5 years before that, sold around the world. It has been extremely successful both around the world and in Canada. It has attracted new customers to Honda, and we're very, very pleased with the sales results so far.
You know, I don't care how cool a vehicle looks. I'm big on good peripheral vision. Along with my rear view and my side view mirrors, I want to be able to see and sense everything going on around my automobile. With this new Fit, it addresses that in a couple of different ways. First, in the back seat, the headrests fold down. Makes it easier, of course, to fold the seat down, but it also gives you a better vision out the back when nobody is sitting in that back seat. The second way is what is known as the A-pillar. Now, check out this video of the first generation Fit and take a look at that A-pillar. Now have a look at the new one. See how much more narrow it is, and this window is much larger. It makes the driving experience not only safer, but more enjoyable.
Well, the Fit is much larger inside in this generation than the previous generation. But it's important to realize now that the Fit is actually larger than the Accord was when it was launched into the Canadian marketplace. They've truly made the interior larger than the exterior.
Maximizing the utility of the back seat. As you saw, you can fold it flat in the back, carry just about anything in this vehicle.
The new Honda Fit is a 5-seater. Well, 4 comfortably, but let's say 5. Now, with 5 people in the car, how many cup holders do you think it would take to keep everybody happy? Would you believe 10?
10 cup holders. People love to drink in Canada, and we're going to give them what they need. So everybody can have 2 drinks each.
Now, we're very, very happy and very proud to introduce this vehicle into the marketplace. We believe it's the right vehicle at the right time, and we're looking forward to satisfying a lot of customers with this new car.
This is the future, you think?
Yes, this is definitely the future, and I think at this time in Canada, this is a car that Canadians will want and enjoy to drive.
We have a sign from beyond telling you the right thing to do, coming up later on Kenzie's Corner. Some people see this thing as a big old box. Others see it as a boldly daring departure from the norm. On this edition of Test Drive, the Ford Flex. Stylistically, the Flex commands significant road presence as nothing looks remotely like it. Squint and some say shades of the Mini Clubman shine through, although the size differential rules it out in my book. The look, however, is the one thing that will keep or kill the Flex in Ford's ever-expanding lineup. One of the neat features on this Flex is the evolution of the fuel system. If you open this flap, you'll notice there's no gas cap. You simply take the nozzle, refuel the vehicle, close the flap. Now you'll never lose a gas cap again in your life. Power comes from a 3.5-litre V6 that churns out 262 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque. This engine is both smooth and a willing worker that's not a gas hog. The 6-speed automatic makes things all the sweeter. The off-the-line pull is strong and it maintains this gusto all the way to highway speeds. Here, the tall top gear allows the Flex to lope along comfortably. As a package, it's a good one that will serve the Flex well. Ford's 3.5-litre V6 EcoBoost engine, complete with its direct injection and a turbocharger, will be offered down the road. Now it promises to put V8-like power under the Flex's hood. While this vehicle is based on the Taurus X, stretching the wheelbase by 125mm works wonders. There is a ton of room in the middle row. There's also another really neat option that you should add. This thing right here is a fridge. Now it's actually driven by its own compressor. That means that it cools water about 40% faster than the fridge sitting in your kitchen. The Flex also has the interior volume required. With the second and third row seats upright, the cargo capacity measures 15 cubic feet. Drop the third row and it blossoms to 43.2, and with the second row flat, there is a commodious 83.2 cubic feet. Folding the front seat forward then brings enough length to accommodate an 8-foot ladder with the tailgate closed. There are also some other equally welcome touches. Having the doors wrap over the side sills banishes those ugly salt stains from one's pant leg. If you add a couple of packages to this Flex, you end up with a very nice interior indeed. One of the things you've got to add, the convenience package. It brings, amongst other things, power adjustable pedals. Now they're important because big vehicles, generally speaking, don't accommodate shorter riders and drivers very well. With this thing, you take the pedals, combine them with an 8-way seat, and just about anybody of any stature can find the correct driving position. You can also add a 4-panel sunroof that really does open up the cabin, and a Sony-based stereo system that comes with Sirius satellite radio. It really does sound exceptionally good. And last but not least, sync. Now this thing allows you to pair a phone and plug in an iPod and control the both of them with voice command. The Flex's sheer size, and it does ride on a 2,995mm wheelbase, might suggest it is more like a landlocked barge than a crossover in terms of its driving dynamics. It does not feel the way it looks. The suspension is well damped and so body motion is controlled even as the Flex is flogged through the pylons. The available all-wheel drive system reinforces the Flex's sure-footed feel. It is seamless as it divvies up the power, which is after all the hallmark of a good system, and the fact it's priced at $1,780 makes it a must-have bargain. This new Flex is as good as any crossover on the market at the moment. It's got plenty of power and there's more of that to come. It handles very well, it rides very nicely, it's got plenty of room and a ton of flexibility. Its ace in the hole, however, it might just be this radical style.
Michelin, a better way forward.
Tire experts and all of us on motoring have been nagging drivers for years to equip their vehicles with 4 winter tires when Old Man Winter arrives. Well, in the province of Quebec, it is now the law, so drivers will have no choice.
Remember that your eyes give your hands and feet the information they need to know.
So with the new law and the fact that Quebec represents more than 50% of the winter tire market in this country, auto journalists are more than pleased to accept Michelin's invitation to compare its new X-Ice 2 tire against the competition.
2, 1, go.
We have 12 Volvos. Each of the module has 4, obviously. And we have the Michelin X-Ice 2, we have the Bridgestone Blizzak, we have the Nokian, and we have the Goodyear. And the goal is to determine, by trying it at different exercise, see which tire is best.
It's possible to reach the limit and go over the limit, which you will all do. And the trick is, how does this tire make me feel when it's going over the limit? Is it progressive? Does it tap me on the shoulder and give me a warning, or does it brake all at once?
They're going against big tires, the Nokian Capellita, which I think is one of the best winter tires. Blizzak is also a great tire. It's among the competitors here.
Now, it's always difficult, and we're not saying the Michelin is here and the competition is there. But if we can be as good as the best everywhere, and we add the other attribute from the Michelin, which is durability, quietness, comfort, it's definitely a better overall tire.
What I can say overall from the 3 modules we've driven today, the Michelin will hold together a little longer in extreme conditions. I think they did a great job with this second generation of X-Ice.
You know, changing a flat tire can be a traumatic and dangerous experience, whether it's on an isolated or busy highway. Where's the tire? How do I get it out? Am I strong enough? Just some of the thoughts that could go through your mind. Well, with the Honda Fit, you don't have to worry about that because the Fit doesn't come with a spare tire. Instead, it comes with a tire repair kit. So not only does it eliminate you having to change the tire, it also lessens the weight of the vehicle. So hey, better fuel economy. All right, let's head to the Quaker State Garage and join Bill Gardner.
Hey Brad, I haven't seen that product yet for the Fit, but the way you described it to me sounds a whole lot like Fix-A-Flat, which is a product you can buy at auto parts stores that temporarily inflates the tire, pumps a latex sealant into the tire, and reinflates your flat tire so that you can limp the car to a repair shop or get home, get it fixed properly the next day. And you know what? Now that a big manufacturer like Honda has equipped a vehicle with that, it gives that type of a product a whole lot more credibility. Anyhow, what I want to talk about this week is ABS brake sensors, usually 1 per wheel on a vehicle with ABS brakes, and in many cases these sensors are integrated with the hub and bearing assembly on a vehicle. It could be a front-wheel drive vehicle or a 4-wheel drive truck like this one we're working on today. Now, if you've watched this show for years, you probably know that all 4 of us don't see eye to eye on absolutely every subject. And I know Graham Fletcher absolutely loves ABS or anti-lock brake systems. I couldn't care less about them. I'd rather see you spend any money that was devoted to upgrading to anti-lock brakes, or if they're part of the package of the vehicle, I'd rather see that money diverted to really good tires. In other words, I'd pick 4 winter tires over an upgrade to ABS any day. Now I can see Graham in the background, he's probably going to be saying ABS and 4 winter tires, and he's right too. So you know, we could debate this forever. But anyhow, what I want to talk about is these ABS sensors on many vehicles can cause problems. Now on this GM Yukon, the situation was when you'd be doing a low-speed stop on dry pavement, all of a sudden the ABS would cut in. You'd get that pulsation on the pedal, you'd hear the boost pump cutting in, you knew you were into ABS. However, you knew by the conditions in the tires, there's no way that you were skidding or locking a tire. So why was the ABS cutting in? Well, in this case, what had happened was rust had got on the hub, lifted the sensor away from the tone ring or the reluctor that it actually picks up against. It had just increased that gap by a few thousandths of an inch, enough that in the last, say, 8 or 10 feet of a moderate stop, the ABS would cut in. It's kind of a disconcerting feeling, so the customer wants it fixed. This harness that you see leading down the upper control arm, down through the backing plate and into the wheel hub, goes to our anti-lock brake sensor, our ABS wheel sensor for the left front wheel. Now in most vehicles you'll have one per wheel, or sometimes one per front wheel and one dedicated to the rear axle. In any case, this sensor provides the speed information for this particular wheel, goes back to the processor so that it knows the speed of this wheel versus the speed of the vehicle. If this wheel slows down or stops, it knows and it can release the brakes on this wheel. Here's our old hub and bearing assembly from the left front of this Yukon. You can see this hole right here. This is where the sensor goes through, and a threaded hole there for a screw that holds it into the hub. Now the sensor would be down like that. In this particular case, what happened was we got a lot of rust around the base of the sensor. You can actually see it right here. And that rust pushes the sensor away from the tone ring, and all of a sudden it becomes a weak signal and the ABS brakes cut in. Bottom line though, if you get a vehicle like this one had 2 bad bearings in it, $400 each, and all the labor to do that. By the time the smoke clears, $1,000. So you know what? Maybe I'm starting to agree with Graham, because a $1,000 repair job on a Friday afternoon, there was nothing at all wrong with that. So you know what? Maybe Graham's right after all. Till next week, I'm Bill Gardner for Motoring 2009.
Although our friends south of the border are beginning to warm up to the Mercedes smart car, they have never been fans of hatchbacks, unless it's called a sport ute. So when Mercedes introduced the entry-level B-Class back in 2005, it only came to Canada. We recently checked out the second-generation B-Class in beautiful Prince Edward Island.
The B-Class was obviously born in Europe, and it was the extension of the original A-Class, which was certainly a great idea to start with, and something that was expanded upon in Europe. The B-Class may not have been right for the US at the time, but it was certainly right for Canada. The chassis of the vehicle hasn't changed, but this is certainly a major update. We've facelifted the car. The front-end design has been modernized. You'll see that really the changes are subtle, but they've certainly modernized the vehicle. They've given it a more dynamic and sporty appearance. The powertrains are carried over from model year 8. They're unchanged. They're great inline 4-cylinder engines. The B200, 134 horsepower, 136 pounds-feet of torque. And then we step up to the B200 Turbo, which is the same 2-liter block, but adds a turbocharger to the engine, and that bumps up power to 193 horsepower, 206 pounds-feet of torque.
So the B-Class has been successful for Mercedes-Benz, and for consumers, it's now more affordable to have that prestigious star on the front grille. But I have to admit to a little confusion. When it comes to the engine compartment, most car companies today are covering the guts of the engine with a cover. Why? Because it looks cool. This does not look cool. Now the B-Class, of course, is a small car, and that is where the market is headed to. But let's be honest, this non-turbo model at 135 horsepower is hardly something you would describe as performance. Yet you have to have premium gasoline. So who is the demographic?
We're looking at young families, people who are stepping up from potentially from cars of a similar design, like a 5-door, 2-box design, something they may have started off with, and now they want something a little more luxurious, something perhaps a little more utilitarian, and somebody who's looking to step into the Mercedes-Benz brand. This is a great entry point, and especially for Canadians. I don't necessarily see the word entry level as derogatory, because this is the entry into the Mercedes-Benz family. And when we do anything, when we launch anything, even with something like the smart car, we make sure that we are the premium entry in that segment, and we make sure that we are giving customers something, an experience they can't get with another brand and with another car. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with the B-Class.
Closed captioning on Motoring 2009 is brought to you by the 2009 Chevrolet Traverse Crossover. It's everything you've ever wished for, and then some.
Brad was telling me the other day that his father used to hate these signs. Slower traffic, keep right. He used to think, nobody wants to think of themselves as slower, especially us macho guys, although Brad says his dad was in fact a pretty slow driver. He thought, and I completely agree, that the sign should read, all traffic keep right except to pass. Now, sometimes you do see those signs, But why can't we be consistent about it? Because that's the message you want to communicate. And maybe some people don't know you're supposed to keep right. Clearly, it's not taught in driving schools over here because lane discipline in Canada is completely awful. As a matter of fact, that's the one difference. You talk to somebody who's driving in Germany or in England and comes back here, it's not the speed, which is higher than we drive. It's not the safety, which is better than we have, and maybe some people should make a connection there. It's the lane discipline. You don't see people passing on the right in Germany or passing on the left in England because, of course, they drive on the wrong side of the road over there, because they've taught from the beginning. You stay in the driving lane, you pass in the passing lanes. In fact, that's one way where British roads are like Canadian roads, because the right lane's the fast lane over there too. The difference is, over there it's supposed to be. The Traffic Act says, keep right except to pass. The signs should say, keep right except to pass. It's the legal thing to do, it's the logical thing to do, it's the safe thing to do. Brad's dad tells you that's what you should do, and that's what I'm telling you to do. I'm Jim Kenzie.
When Honda first introduced the Hybrid Insight, I thought it would be a big seller, simply because it looked cool. And if it's not cool, young people will not be interested in fuel-efficient vehicles. Well, the Insight was not a big seller. The reason? Simply it had no room inside. As for the 2009 Honda Fit, that is not a problem. Plenty of room inside, and it's cool looking. So yes, I like the Fit. My only negative comment is that it needs an extra gear. You really keep wanting to upshift at highway speeds. Anyway, Graham will have his take on a future test drive. Before we go, make sure you check out motoringtv.com. Along with catching programs you may have missed on TSN, we have now posted our nominees for the top vehicles and car of the year for 2009. We want you to vote, and we'll have your results and our results on the upcoming 1-hour Car of the Year special. That's it for now. We'll see you next time out as we continue to bring you more stories about cars and the people who drive them. Question is, are you having any fun?
Yes, we are. We're having a blast.
Motoring 2009 on TSN has been brought to you by the new Q Horsepower from Quaker State. Unleash all your horses. And Michelin, a better way forward.